Okay, so now let's add in the sections that we are going to have, our graphic design, photography, logos, and contact us sections. So each one of these is going to be outside of the top bar, of course. So I'm going to create a div for each one of these, and the class is going to be a section. And in each one of these, I'm going to add a little header too. Graphic design for this one. And I'm just going to copy these. There's 4 sections. And this one is going to be photography. And this one is going to be logos. And this one is going to be contact us. There we go. We'll do a little refresh here. So now we have it. And of course the style is a little bit funky. I don't like that it's all the way over to the left here. I want the section's names to be centered here. So I'm going to hop over to my styles. And so I'm going to add a section to my styles. And so I'm going to make the padding on these. I don't want them to be all the way on the left. So this goes top, right, bottom, and left. So I'm going to add a 10 pixel padding on either side. And no padding on the top and bottom. Refresh that. So now you see we have this nice little 10 pixel padding on the one side. Oh, I have a little typo there. Let me pop on over and clean that up. And refresh. Perfect. Alright. Next thing, like I said, I wanted these to be centered. So I'm going to go ahead and set the text alignment to be centered here. And I want some space between these. So I'm going to put the margin on the bottom to be 50 pixels. So if we refresh this, now we got a little bit of space between them. Looking pretty good. And so now what I want to do is make it so that when I click on these, we jump between the sections. So I'm going to pop back over here, and I'm going to make this be going to graphic design. Notice I have this little hash in front. Photography, logos, and contact us. So what this does is when you click on these links, it's going to look for an element in your page with the ID, graphic design, photography, logos, or contact us, and it's going to jump to that section. So I'm going to set the ID to this one to be graphic design. The ID for this one to be photography. The ID for this one to be logos. And the ID for this one to be contact us. Alright, so if I refresh now, oh wow, yeah, nice little zoom in thing going on there. That was interesting. So if I click on graphic design, photography, oh, you can't quite see it because there's not enough space on these. But to get around that, let's just make this, each section, let's give them a min height so we can preview this. I'm going to make a min height of 800 pixels. Refresh that here. Not sure why I'm getting such a zoom in on that, but if I go back to the main page and I click on this, you'll see now it pops down to graphic design, photography, logos, contact us. And so one of the things that's a little bit annoying here is that to get back to these links I have to scroll all the way back to the top. So what I would like to do is make it so that this top bar is always present. So to do that, in our top bar here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just simply, let me reload this page here. I'm going to simply set the top bar to be a fixed position. So I do that by simply typing in position fixed. And now when I reload the page, it's always at the top even if I'm scrolling. The only thing that's a little bit funky here is you'll notice you can't see graphic design because it's actually up here. It's behind this thing. Since we're at fixed position, everything else doesn't get stuck underneath it. So when I click photography, it's jumping to photography, which happens to be just up here. So we're going to do a little CSS trick to get around this. And so I'm going to actually move these IDs out to a separate span. So I'm going to create a little thing here called span. And I'm going to create a class called anchor to specify that this is where I want my anchor tags to be. And so I'm going to make this graphic design like that. And there's going to be nothing inside this tag. Nothing inside the span tag. So I'm going to create one of these for each section, like so. And get rid of these IDs. Make this one for photography. Make this one for logos. And make this one for contact us. Alright. And then the next thing I'm going to do is make a little class for our anchors. And so for the anchor class, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, alright, display this as a big block. I want the height of this to be 175, which just so happens to be the exact same height as our top bar. And we're going to set the margin on the top to be minus 175 pixels. Again, this is the same amount, so this causes this thing to appear sort of invisible. And to do that, we're just going to set the visibility to hidden. Alright, let's take a look at that effect. So we'll load this page back up. Oh, when I click photography, get a nice thing there. Logos, perfect. Contact us, not quite long enough, so it goes as close as it can. But graphic design is still not quite working. And so the reason for that is we aren't, our content actually starts at the very top of the page, not under this Creative Solutions logo. So what we need to do is one more thing. We need to wrap this all in a new div. And this is going to be the content div. So let me just re-indent everything here. Okay, and add a closed div for our content. And what we want to do is for our content, we want our content to start underneath that Creative Solutions. So our content is going to have a top margin of 175 pixels. And that should get us exactly what we want. Let's reload this. So now graphic design starts underneath this. Click on graphic photography, hops to it. Click on graphic design, hops to it. Logos, contact us. Alright. So now we have each of our sections set up, ready to go. And we can populate them now. So really quickly, let's create a little photo gallery under graphic design. So I'm going to create a little div here called, give it a class gallery. And inside of this, I'm going to put all of the images in the image galleries, in the graphic design folder. And these are just labeled 1 through 12. So I'm just going to copy this 12 times. 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Hopefully I counted right. And change these graphics here. 10, 11, 12. Oh, counted wrong. Copied it 12 times, but we already had one. And let's reload this. And you'll notice that we're getting these full-size pictures. Not showing up in the grid the way we want. And so what I'm going to do is hop on over to my styles. And I have my new class gallery. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to specify that all of the images in the gallery, I want them to be 200 pixels wide, 200 pixels tall. Let's take a look at that. It's looking pretty good now. And I also want to make it so there's a little bit of space think they're a little bit too close top to bottom. So I'm going to add a little padding to these. I'm going to say 10 pixels on all sides. There we go. That looks much nicer to me. Alright, next we're going to take a look at getting our slideshow for our photography done.